So I want to give you a little background on me and tell my story here. So who am I and where where am I going, right? Um, so I was born in Pennsylvania, which is the Keystone State, in 1985. Born in the Philadelphia area, but my parents moved us to Central PA, where I graduated from Lancaster Catholic High School. But I was kind of an angry kid and very rebellious, and I so it was kind of like didn't really know what I wanted to do with myself, so I joined the army. Uh, the army where I learned how to, know, build bridges, dig ditches, and blow stuff up. But none of them are very lucrative, I can assure you. And when I got out of the army, I didn't really know what else to do, so I got into the elevator business. I came up in the elevator business, finished an apprenticeship, and started buying houses and stuff, and realized I was working way too many hours, and really was starting to build myself a prison. I was building someone else's dream instead of my own, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I started, I started making really good money, and that was the focus. But I wasn't making kind of enough to really get myself out. Um, but I was studying online marketing and all this, get rich quick stuff, and I actually got pretty good at it. And so I walked into the gym and I saw like it was costing them the same whether they had 6 people in there or 60. The price was the same. So give me $100 for Facebook ads, and I'll see what I can do. So now I have my first paying customer for my little online marketing business. I was doing Facebook ads and email marketing and doing lead generation, sales conversion stuff. And so I got really into this whole sales thing, and I learned that the only difference between a $1 bill and a $100 bill was simply the message on the paper. And so this whole thing is called copywriting. And being that I was really I kept on I wanted more of this, I wanted more of these. I decided to go into the most competitive field to turn my writing into riches, which brought me to financial copywriting, and that was very interesting. I learned a lot about what makes people buy stuff, how to kind of I mean it's not kind of I learned how to manipulate people, and I learned how to do this whole advertising thing really effectively, and but I found that the better you were as a copywriter, you didn't need to spend a whole lot of time uh, writing these 40-page plus sales letters. It's actually when you know what the heck you're talking about, it doesn't require a lot of fluff, and it actually less becomes more, and the more effective and the more clear you are at communicating, it does not require hyped up advertising selling hopium. Uh, I felt like I was selling crack. That's what it felt like. So I needed to knock this stuff off. But I kept building everything I was doing. I was this guy. I was also selling myself on this. This is all I really was really caring about. And I realized that there's a whole lot more besides it, especially once you learn how to create money out of thin air. I mean, literally, my business costs are Google Docs, um, and a little bit of time. and I could have no overhead. So it was just like all profit. So I literally can work when I feel like it on my own time, and it cost me nothing in order to produce as much of this as I wanted. But what was the why? What was I really trying to accomplish? What is this all for, right? Well, I found that the truth is actually more compelling than any of the copy that I could write, and that clarity trumps persuasion. Clarity is what I was really after, and that the truth uh, is kind of often a bitter pill for people to swallow, especially for me. I mean, I was avoiding taking it at all costs. So what I think is very interesting is that once I started doing the deep work, which I knew to start with why from the very beginning, but my why was just making dollar bills, and um, so it's just kind of funny. Once I started to understand what I was really actually trying to do, the truth was more funny and more persuasive and more everything that I was actually trying to do. And I just keep on trying to unpack this. As you can see, I'm working through it. I'm just sharing my story here and working in front of you about how this whole thing is. But I learned a lot of really neat visual frameworks in my path to trying to get where am I really trying to go, right? I learned a lot of ways to not just, you know, persuade, but also how to think and how to see. And that's really what my why now is, is, is helping myself see more clearly. And so I found that the secret to making all this much more effective and how to tell a story that's more true to life than reality itself is to not just to tell my story and to tell my why, but help people see their world, if I could actually spell, their world more clearly. And I just think it's very interesting that so now my problem was flipped into an opportunity here. And that while I always, to write more effective copy, I was always looking for the objections so I could turn them into reasons why for existing. Why does this product exist, and why me? Why now? Why this? Right? So I have problems, and I have my own objections that I didn't have enough. I have no traditional schooling. I have I come from construction, and no one really wants to hear about my army construction days or my elevator construction days, and so I have to kind of create new stories that because it's hard for me to try to even relate with a lot of people because I come from such a hardcore background, and so I use these cartoons and visuals to communicate with people to soften some of the edges because I am pretty, I'm a fast, rugged, irreverent guy, and so these cartoons, if you will, are helping me to think my problems out and share some of these stories with people because otherwise you know, I'm too much. I'm kind of too intense for a lot of people. So really, it's like this impossible thing of trying to tell all this has become, my, oh geez, look at this. It's annoying. Uh, has become my purpose. So telling you my story visually is helping me think it out loud, and it has become my purpose for me to see I'm solving my own problem, and hopefully will be helping you see your world more clearly. And so now that you've seen my story, I want to give you one more kind of framework to think about, and that's here's your life, your world as you may know it. Maybe it's a box too. Maybe you're unflattening and starting to see that life is maybe not exactly what you thought it would be, and maybe you're trying to get out, or I don't know, maybe it's not a box, but this is the state of where you are now. And that's a triangle. It's actually the sign for change, right? Delta. So this is the equation I'm pondering right now. Square plus triangle equals 0, right? Because a square, once moved and applied change, can no longer be the square anymore. It can no longer be a box anymore. It has to change because change has been applied to it time or seeing this thing. So now it is a new state. So what is the new state? I hope it is not more confusion. There's a lot of mess. I want to be able to move into a straight, a clear direction and untangle this Gordian knot. And so hopefully by sharing my story and something for you to ponder, it will inspire some maybe new action. And if my dumbass has been able to figure this stuff out with no, no traditional schooling of any kind, other than beans and bullets and blowing stuff up, maybe you can get where you're trying to go, wherever that is, in a less painful and more direct way than the way I have gone about doing it. So, hope this was helpful, and I'd love to get your feedback if any of this resonated with you. Thanks for watching.